Oh no, 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 no. Mark, did you see that? I just watched that coffee cup tip over in slow motion. The lid wasn't on tight, and now there is a puddle of dark roast right in the middle of my keyboard. The screen just flickered, went bright green for a second, and now it is completely black. It won't turn on, and I think I can hear a tiny sizzling sound. This is literally my worst nightmare.
Sarah, take a deep breath. I saw the whole thing. It was like a movie. You were reaching for your phone and your elbow just caught the edge of the mug. We have all been there, and I know that feeling of pure panic when you realize your entire life is on that laptop. But before you try to press the power button again, which you should definitely not do, we need to think about how we are going to explain this at the repair shop.
You're right. I'm already imagining standing at the counter and just pointing at the laptop and saying it's broken. But that doesn't help the technician, does it? If I want them to fix it quickly and not charge me for things I don't need, I need to be specific. Welcome to Everyday English Podcast, everyone. Today, we are turning a disaster into a lesson. We are going to the repair shop together. We are going to learn exactly how to describe a technical accident, how to use the right grammar to tell a story, and what questions you need to ask to protect your wallet and your data.
This is such a common pain point for English learners. When something goes wrong, we often lose our vocabulary because of the stress. But if you subscribe to our channel, you'll find that we talk about these real-life problems every day, so that when the coffee spills, your English stays calm. So Sarah, let's start with the narrative. When you get to that shop, the technician is going to ask, "So, what happened?" How do we tell that story?
This is the perfect time to use a very specific grammar structure. We use the past continuous for the background action and the past simple for the sudden event. I often hear students say, "I drink coffee and it falls," but that doesn't sound natural. Instead, we want to say, "I was working at a cafe when I knocked my coffee over." The part "I was working" tells the technician what was happening over a period of time. Then "I knocked" tells them the specific moment the accident occurred.
That is a great distinction. It sets the scene. Let's try another one. Maybe you weren't working. Maybe you were moving your laptop. You could say, "I was carrying my laptop to the kitchen when I tripped and dropped it." Again, "I was carrying" is the long action, and "I tripped" is the short, sudden action. It paints a very clear picture for the person who has to fix the device. It helps them understand the force of the impact or the amount of liquid involved.
Exactly. And let's look at that verb "to spill." If you say, "I spilled coffee on my laptop," it's a simple fact. But if you want to be more descriptive about the amount, you might say, "I drenched the keyboard," or "I splashed some water on the side." The word drench means to make something completely wet. If you say you drenched it, the technician knows they probably need to open it up and check for internal water damage immediately.
That word "drenched" is very powerful. It really changes the technician's priority level. Now, once you've told the story of the accident, you have to describe the symptoms. This is where people usually get stuck. They just say, "It doesn't work." But Sarah, what are some of the more professional, clear words we can use to describe what a broken computer is actually doing?
Well, let's start with the most common one for a spill. It won't turn on. This is a very useful phrasal verb. You don't say "it won't open" or "it won't start" as often as you say "it won't turn on." It means the power is not reaching the system. If the light comes on but the screen is dark, you can say "the screen is blank" or "the screen is black." That tells them the power is working but the display is dead.
And what if the screen is doing something weird, like if you see lines or colors that shouldn't be there?
Then we use the word flickering. The screen is flickering. It means the light is going on and off very quickly. Or you might say the image is distorted. Distorted means it looks pulled or twisted or the colors are wrong. Another great word for the screen is pixelated. If you see tiny little squares instead of a smooth picture, you can say the display looks pixelated.
I love those. Flickering, distorted, and pixelated. Those are three very high-level words that will make you sound very fluent. What about the keyboard? After a coffee spill, the keyboard usually changes.
Oh, definitely. The most common problem is that the keys are sticking, or you can say "I have sticky keys." This happens because the sugar in the coffee or soda dries and acts like glue. You could also say the keyboard is unresponsive. This is a great word, unresponsive. It means you are pressing the keys but nothing is happening on the screen. The computer is not responding to your touch.
Unresponsive. That's a word we can use for the whole computer too, right? Like, the system is completely unresponsive. It's a bit more formal than saying it's frozen.
Yes, exactly. If you say, "My computer is frozen," everyone understands you. It's very common. But if you say it is unresponsive, it sounds a bit more technical and precise. Now, Mark, let's talk about the sound. Sometimes after an accident, the hardware starts making noises.
Right, like the fan.
If the computer is getting too hot, the fan might start working really hard. You could say, the fan is spinning loudly, or the fan is whirring. That word whirring, whirring, describes the sound of a small motor. If you hear a clicking sound, that's usually a very bad sign for the hard drive. You would tell the technician, I hear a clicking noise coming from inside the case.
That clicking noise is the sound of money leaving your bank account. It usually means the hardware is physically failing, which leads us to our next big section, the money and the time. This is where English learners often feel like they have no power. They are in a foreign country or speaking a second language, and they are afraid they are being cheated. Mark, what's the first thing you ask when you hand over your broken device?
You have to ask for an estimate or a quote. These two words are very similar. An estimate is a guess of how much it will cost. A quote is usually a more fixed price. You can ask, could you give me an estimate for the repair? Or, how much do you think the parts and labor will come to? That's a very important phrase, parts and labor. Parts are the physical pieces, like a new screen. Labor is the money you pay for the technician's time and skill.
That is a crucial distinction. Sometimes the part is cheap, but the labor is expensive because it takes 3 hours to take the laptop apart. You should also ask, is there a diagnostic fee? A diagnostic fee is a small amount of money you pay just for them to look at the computer and find the problem. Often, if you agree to do the repair with them, they will waive the diagnostic fee. To waive a fee means to cancel it or make it zero.
Oh, that's a great tip. Can I get the diagnostic fee waived if I go ahead with the repair? That is a very professional way to save some money. And what about the warranty? We should probably talk about that.
Yes, if your computer is new, you might have a warranty. A warranty is a promise from the company to fix problems for free. You can ask, is this covered under warranty? However, most warranties do not cover accidental damage, so if you spilled coffee, you might be out of luck, but it is always worth asking. You can say, I have the extended protection plan. Does that cover liquid damage?
It's always worth a shot. The worst they can say is no. Now, let's talk about the most valuable thing on the computer. It's not the plastic or the metal. It's the photos, the documents, and the work, the data. Sarah, if my computer won't turn on, how do I talk to the technician about my files?
This is the most emotional part of the conversation. You want to ask, is my data recoverable? Recoverable means, can we get it back? You can also ask, can you perform a data recovery? If the technician is good, they will try to save your files before they replace any parts. You might also want to tell them, the most important thing is my hard drive. I need to back up my files.
And if you were smart and you used the cloud, you could say, most of my files are synced to the cloud, so I'm not too worried about the data. Syncing is when your computer automatically sends your files to a server on the internet, like Google Drive or iCloud. If your files are synced, you are in a much better position.
Definitely, but if they aren't, you need to be very clear that you want them to save the data. Now, Mark, let's play a little game. Let's do a role play. I'll be the technician and you be the customer who just had this coffee accident. Let's see how you use these words in a real conversation.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm walking into the shop now.
Hi there, welcome to the Repair Hub. How can I help you today?
Hi, well, I'm having a bit of an emergency. I was working at a cafe about an hour ago when I accidentally knocked over a large latte and it drenched my keyboard.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Lattes are the worst because of the milk and sugar. Does the device still turn on?
No, it won't turn on at all. As soon as the liquid hit, the screen flickered for a second and then went black. I tried to restart it, but it's completely unresponsive. I also noticed a slight whirring sound coming from the back before it shut down.
Okay, it sounds like there might be a short circuit on the logic board. We'll need to open it up to see how much liquid reached the internal components.
I understand. Could you give me a rough estimate for the repair? And I'm also very concerned about my files. Is the data recoverable?
For the estimate, I'll need to do a full diagnostic first. There is a $50 diagnostic fee, but we waive that if you choose to do the repair with us. As for the data, as long as the hard drive wasn't damaged by the liquid, we should be able to back everything up for you. That's a relief. About how long do you think the turnaround will be? I have a big project due on Friday.
Usually, for liquid damage, the turnaround is about 3 to 5 business days. We have to make sure everything is completely dry before we test the new parts.
3 to 5 days. Okay. Is there any way to expedite the process? I'm happy to pay an extra fee for faster service.
We do have an express service for an additional $75. That puts you at the front of the line. We could probably have an answer for you by tomorrow afternoon.
Let's do that. Also, is this type of thing usually covered under warranty? I bought this laptop 6 months ago.
Unfortunately, standard warranties don't cover accidental liquid damage, but I can check your serial number to see if you have any special accidental damage coverage.
That would be great. Thank you so much for your help.
And scene. Mark, that was perfect. You used drenched, unresponsive, turnaround, and even expedite. To expedite means to make something happen faster. That is a very useful word in any business situation.
It felt much better to have those words ready. I felt like I was in control of the situation, even though my imaginary laptop was dead. And I think that's the goal for our listeners. We want you to feel in control.
Exactly. Now, before we wrap up, I want to talk about one phrase from a video we watched recently that really fits here. The phrase is acting up. In the Anchor video about viruses, they used acting up to describe a computer that isn't working right. You might tell the technician, actually, the laptop has been acting up for a few weeks. It's been very sluggish and slow. This helps the technician know that maybe the problem isn't just the coffee. Maybe there was an older problem, like a virus or a failing battery.
That's a good point. If you say it's been acting up, you are telling the technician the history of the device. It gives them more clues to solve the mystery. Sluggish is another great word you used there. It's like a slug, that slow little animal in the garden. A sluggish computer is one that takes forever to open a program.
So we've covered the accident, the symptoms, the money, the data, and the history. That is a lot of English. For everyone listening, I want you to remember that learning these specific scenes is how you build real fluency. You don't need to know every word in the dictionary. You just need the words for the situations you actually face.
And technology is something we all face. Whether it's a phone, a tablet, or a laptop, something will eventually act up or break. If you found this helpful, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We bring you these real-world conversations every day because we want you to live your life in English, not just study it from a textbook. When you subscribe and hit the bell icon, you're making a commitment to your fluency, and we're here to support you every step of the way.
We really are. We love hearing your stories too. Not the stories of your broken computers, hopefully, but your stories of using English in the real world. Now, here is your next step. This is your homework for today. I want you to imagine a tech problem you had in the past. Maybe you cracked your phone screen, or your tablet stopped charging. I want you to write 3 sentences in the comments or in your notebook. First, use the past continuous and past simple to describe what happened. For example, I was walking to the bus when I dropped my phone.
Second, use one of our symptom words. For example, the screen was completely pixelated. And third, ask a question about the cost or the data. For example, is my data recoverable? Writing these down helps move the vocabulary from your short-term memory to your long-term memory. It makes the words yours.
It really does. And if you want to keep practicing, you can listen to this episode again while you're doing the dishes or commuting. Shadowing the conversation we had where you repeat the words right after we say them is one of the best ways to improve your pronunciation and your speed.
Definitely. Don't be afraid to repeat yourself. Fluency is built through repetition. Sarah, I think I'm going to go buy a lid for my coffee cup now. I don't want to have to use any of these phrases in real life today.
That is a very good idea, Mark. Prevention is better than a repair. But at least now, if it does happen, you have to English to handle it. Thank you so much for joining us on the Everyday English podcast. We hope this lesson helps you feel more confident the next time you have to deal with a technical headache. Remember, mistakes are just part of the learning process, whether you're learning a language or learning how to fix a computer.
Keep practicing, stay curious, and keep showing up for yourself every day. You are doing a great job, and your English is getting better with every episode you listen to. We'll be back tomorrow with another conversation about real life. Until then, take care of your tech and take care of yourselves.
See you in the next one. Bye.